What's going on, you guys? Welcome to part 2 on how to play Paradox. Before we jump into the different build we're going to look at today, I just want to mention that Time Wall does stop bullets, but only briefly. So you guys were definitely right about what you said, and probably I wasn't doing the best job explaining it, but I just want to get that out of the way. So it does temporarily block all projectiles and bullets. It will eventually let them go through. You guys were right by saying this ability kind of sucks. To be honest, I think Paradox is very low on the tier list. If I were to make a Deadlock tier list, I would assume this character is going to get buffed in the future. And as of right now, I think the build I have in part 1 is going to be the best way to play Paradox as like a tanky support niche kind of pick. But let's just say we need some more damage on the team and you want to carry as Paradox. You've come to the right place. Let's talk about how to carry with Paradox. This is going to be kind of the polar opposite of the other build that I had. So let's just talk about the abilities real quick. The main two abilities you're going to be using in this build is going to be, well, Pulse Grenade and Kinetic Carbine. The other two abilities are really only going to be used in a 1v1 situation. You're not going to bother worrying about it in team fights. You're going to be sitting back a lot of the time using Kinetic Carbine and basically using Pulse Grenade just to farm. Kinetic Carbine is going to be the main thing that you need. And also, once you finally max this out, you do get more bonus amplification. And by the way, this doesn't scale off of your spirit damage. It scales off of your weapon damage. All her other things are at least like cooldown related or spirit damage related. If you want to go this build, you're pretty much going to throw that all out the window and go for weapon damage. So let's talk about the items real quick. Going into the shop, I've already got a build for you guys. You guys can find this in the game. We're going to start with Hollow Point Ward. The reason why is because you get some additional weapon damage, 20% weapon damage to be exact. On top of that, a little bit of spirit power. This is going to help for pushing, but this is going to be an awesome early game item to pick up. The next one is obviously Basic Magazine, and we're looking at the weapon damage and also ammo helps, but 15% weapon damage. So with these combined, we already have 35% weapon damage. On top of that, I would say Kinetic Dash. The reason why is because this helps with mobility a little bit. This is a more expensive item, so you might want to consider this later on, but basically you save a little bit of stamina as you move around, and it has a 10-second cooldown. On top of that, you get some bonus health, which helps too. Next, I'm going to definitely recommend Enduring Spirit. This is going to be great for laning, great for early farming. You get some Spirit Lifesteal, bonus health. It helps you stay alive a little bit longer. Next, obviously, extra stamina, and then sprint boots because this character lacks mobility, besides wasting Kinetic Carbine. And for this build, we're going to be using Kinetic Carbine, so we need a bit of mobility in our items. We need to spend a little bit of money on it. Next, we got Mystic Burst, which will obviously help for Kinetic Carbine, not to mention it has weapon damage. And then Mystic Reach, if you need some extra farm, this will help with just clearing camps in general, clearing creep waves with your Pulse Grenade. But anyways, moving on to the mid-game, we can imbue Kinetic Carbine with some spirit damage, or you can put it on Pulse Grenade if you wish, but basically this is just to help you out a little bit. It's not a huge deal. Next, we're going to get Slowing Bullets, basically just for the weapon damage, 16%. So far, if we were to get Slowing Bullets, Basic Magazine, and Hollow Point, we got 20%, 35%, and then all the way up to like 51% extra weapon damage. On top of that, Mystic Burst will put us at 57, assuming we're above 60% health. And with this build, you're going to be running away with Kinetic Carbine and just kind of being safe. Next, we got Improved Cooldown for basically all your abilities, but especially Kinetic Carbine. Next, we've got Enduring Speed, just to move around a little bit easier. Spirit Lifesteal to help with farming even more, assuming that, you know, it's mid-game, the game's pretty slow, and you find yourself farming a lot, because honestly, later on, you might not need Spirit Lifesteal. It will scale off of Kinetic Carbine, even though the damage from this is scaling off your weapon damage. It still does spirit damage, so just keep that in mind. But let's get into the core items. Obviously, we need Glass Cannon, 70% weapon damage. This is a must. Also, you get permanent weapon damage when you kill a hero, but keep in mind, this is literally the point of the build where you're forgetting about your ult. You don't care about Time Wall that much besides running away, maybe a little bit. You're not trying to do some paradoxical swap 1v1 type action. You're going to use kinetic carbine and pulse grenade. Basically, those are your abilities. So glass cannon is going to be your main core item for this build. On top of that, frenzy, another 30% weapon damage. And then I like Mystic Reverb just to have a little bit of sustain and just something to kind of fill out the build. You can also skip this if you wish. Now let's get into the extra items. The first one I'm going to recommend is Silencer. Basically, with Paradox's burst rifle, it's easy to apply this. She has pretty good fire rate. So all your bullets are going to apply silence for the next 4 seconds. On top of that, some more weapon damage, so it's a win-win. Next, after that, I would recommend Siphon Bullets, even more weapon damage, plus an amazing passive. And then to kind of spread Siphon Bullets, we got Ricochet. Doesn't give you weapon damage per se, but it's definitely going to help for fighting. After that, I've got Leech, more weapon damage, some sustain, a little bit of spirit power. If you need to clear waves with a pulse grenade, it'll help a tiny bit. And then Boundless Spirit, 25% bonus weapon damage, and obviously a bit of tankiness and some movement speed. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this type of build? I think Paradox is kind of in that weird spot where most people don't prefer this champion and they don't think it's very strong. But I think in situations where picking Paradox is viable, it's a very strong pick for those situations and can help a lot in team fights. If you're gonna go the super greedy carry build, obviously I think this can work out too. You're going to be able to pick up kills from the backline. You're going to be helping team fights in that sense. You're not really going to be using Paradoxical Swap except for 1v1 situations. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much for giving me love on these guides. If you want more Deadlock guides, make sure to let me know. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.